Windsor looking a little more colorful, hopes a bit of beauty boosts struggling businesses. May is Asian Heritage Month. Community members share their memories about coming to Canada, the struggles and the joys. A live look outside now, about a month out from summer, but you can feel the heat already. 30 with the Humidex in Windsor. Colette Kennedy has the forecast tonight. I'm Chris Hensing. Thanks for watching. Living through continued threats of flooding, years of erosion, and an evacuation order last spring, homeowners along Erie Shore Drive are taking legal action against the municipality of Chatham-Kent. CBC's Katerina Georgieva live from a community slipping into Lake Erie. Katerina, why is this happening now?
Well, Chris, homeowners are essentially fed up. They say that the municipality isn't doing what it's supposed to be in order to protect the shoreline and to protect their homes here along Lake Erie. Now, this legal action is being led by the Erie Shore Drive Property Owners Association. They say that for years they've been digging into their own pockets in order to protect this area, to protect their homes, when they say the municipality has a legal obligation to be the one to do so. So now at least 80 members are seeking damages. Now, this action is going forward under the Drainage Act, saying that the municipality breached its obligation to fix the shoreline protection. And a key issue is the dike, which is essentially the whole road itself dividing the lake and then farmland on the other side. And making the dike safe was why residents were forced to leave their homes last year. Here's what one homeowner had to say.
Well, we should never have been in this situation. I mean, this was a last resort. I mean, like, we shouldn't have been forced into this position ever. I mean, there should be no legal action. It should have been a municipality, stakeholders, and landowners shaking a hand and coming up with a solution. I mean, solutions are made every day, but the municipality didn't want to come up with a solution. Their solution. You want to see the solution? The solution is Mickey Mouse kindergarten engineering.
Now, you heard him refer to engineering there. He's talking about boulders along the road. He said that these were put in place when everybody was forced to leave last year, that this was the solution in order to make this dike more safe. Now, another thing that I should mention is that pardon me, because of how this drive was engineered, they say that the municipality is the one to pay for this, even though property owners know that, yes, they live on a waterfront property, they have an obligation to protect their own land, but because of how this road was created in order to create the farmland that you're seeing on this side under the Drainage Act. So as a result, they believe it should be the municipality's job to deal with this.
So, Katerina, what does the municipality have to say about this then?
Well, Chris, I reached out to the municipality, I reached out to the mayor, but they are not commenting at this time because it is all before the courts. But I should mention that they have looked at shoreline protection before and what it amounts to, and it really does add up to millions and millions of dollars. And they've also called on the federal government and upper levels of government to support them with funding when it comes to all of this. But I should add again, Chris, this has been reaching a bubbling point over some time. It doesn't look like it right now because it's a beautiful day, but these properties have been assaulted by the elements. You've got erosion, flooding, rain. We've seen flooding over time. There was also a study that was conducted about the shoreline properties, and it really painted a seriously grim picture of what the years to come might look like for these properties. And the last thing I want to add is the lake levels, which have been deeply concerning for folks in this area. They are lower right now than they have been in the last couple of years. And when I spoke to Trevor Dixon, one of the owners here, he said, yes, this gives them some calm, some relief, but they're not going to be able to take a total sigh of relief until it goes even lower. Chris.
Thanks, CBC's Katerina Georgieva live tonight. Now, the day after the lowest case count since March, health officials for Windsor and Essex County reported the biggest daily uptick in nearly a month. 70 new cases today, the 7-day moving average at 40 cases, where it's been for most of May. Another person's died after testing positive for COVID-19. It was a woman in her 70s. Why the spike in cases? The health unit says there's no known delay in testing data, and it's possible it came from an event or gathering that still needs to be investigated. The health unit also highlighting, quote, information gaps, saying people aren't providing all the pertinent information to trace cases. But with all that, the health unit still says we could potentially have a real summer.
I'm optimistic about the future. I'm optimistic about our summer here, but we can only get there when we get a good control right now. We're almost close to the finish line, and I keep saying that we're almost close to the finish line, but we're not there yet. And as much as every one of us, including myself, we want to enjoy the summer, we want to enjoy the human connection that we used to enjoy, but it's almost there. We have to get the vaccination rate up to a certain level. We have to have the transmission in the community go down before we can enjoy all of those things.
And for the second day in a row, the province has seen new cases of COVID-19 stay well below the 2,000 mark. Health officials are reporting 1,588 cases. That's the fewest in just over 2 months. And there's also been a big drop in that 7-day average, down almost 1,000 new daily cases in the past 10 days. And that has one member of Ontario's Science Advisory Table saying that schools could safely reopen by the end of the month. Lorenda Redikoff has more.
People continue to ignore the stay-at-home order when it comes to outdoor activities, including for sports. A member of the province's Science Advisory Table says those could officially reopen safely.
Immediately before or after the long weekend, outdoor spaces, as we said, tennis courts, soccer fields, etc.
Next up, he says, would be schools.
Perhaps 4 weeks before the end of the academic year, this would be excellent, and then we need to wait. That's important.
That would mean having kids back in classrooms by late May. A spokesperson for the education minister wouldn't confirm the province's plan, but says they'll continue to follow the advice of the chief medical officer and that in-person learning is critical to children's mental health, well-being and development. Dr. Peter Uni says around the end of June, outdoor dining could safely start.
Let's get a really great summer together, and we can do that if we all get vaccinated, if we all go out and just behave safely outdoors. We can do that. We don't need the province, we don't need politicians to tell us what to do.
The province isn't officially putting out any plan just yet, but the Solicitor General sounded cautious.
I guess I'm asking respectfully for people to be patient. We are so close.
She also suggested lifting restrictions will happen based on the type of business, not region by region.
When what happens is people are more likely to move from place to place.
This family is fine holding off on lifting restrictions for a bit.
If they're dropping, keep things closed for now. And if we're going to call it a stay-at-home or a lockdown, just keep it locked down for now.
Others are frustrated, ready for outdoor activities to be allowed.
It's embarrassing a little bit, yeah. I don't understand why we can't go out and, enjoy activities responsibly.
Definitely golfing, so we can get out of the city and go golfing. Cottaging.
The Science Table is expected to give its latest modeling on where it appears things are headed tomorrow. Lorenda Redikoff, CBC News, Toronto.
Some surgeries will be resuming at local hospitals soon, more than a month after all non-urgent elective surgeries were put on pause. Windsor Regional Hospital and Erie Shores Healthcare gradually resuming surgeries that do not require an inpatient stay or post-surgery bed. The hospital says patients will be notified by their surgeon's office directly about rescheduling. And this is after Ontario's Medical Officer of Health rescinded their directive to put a pause on these types of surgeries across the province. It's a good time to stop and smell the flowers with the nice weather, and you might have noticed some popping up in downtown Windsor, part of a program from the city and the Business Improvement Association. But as Dale Molnar reports, more projects will soon come into bloom.
So far, 12 businesses in the downtown have taken advantage of a program to put flowers on parklets and patios. The total cost is $6,000, shared equally between the BIA and its members. The city provides the service of putting them there and keeping them watered.
Yeah, so it's just a way to kind of brighten up the patio. We haven't been able to use it just because of the lockdown and everything, but it was nice to come in the other day and see that there's some color out on the patio.
I do see improvements every year, but I think that's a right way to start to make downtown better, especially in this time of COVID and pandemic.
The co-owner of the Bull and Barrel likes the flowers too, but would like to see more programs once the COVID lockdowns are over.
It'd be great to see the Downtown Business Improvement Association come up with a marketing plan to try and drive some more traffic to the streets of downtown Windsor.
We are doing everything we can to provide supports to our members, whether it's information to them for how to apply for different funding, rent relief, that kind of thing through the government.
The executive director says the e-scooters are getting rave reviews. and the city is helping with the farmers market. She says more streetscaping is also on the way.
So there's an environmental assessment underway to Streetscape University from the University of Windsor all the way to Goyer Street, and that's underway currently.
She expects that project to be complete in 2023 or 2024, and she says all the downtown streets will eventually get a makeover. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
The federal government wants Windsor Essex to become a world-class automobility accelerator. Invest Windsor Essex receiving $7.5 million to help more than 1,300 entrepreneurs, and they think the money can bring in $40 million worth of foreign investment.
I think what was appealing about it is that it builds upon our local strengths. And so when you look at the fact that you have Stellantis making a commitment to build an electric vehicle here, a $1.5 billion investment. When you look at the fact that we have the best workforce in Canada, hands down, when it comes to the manufacturing and the building of automobiles.
Leamington Town Council will not hire on Windsor Police Services. They say the price is too high. The town has been looking to replace the OPP for about a year now, dissatisfied with the service and low staffing levels. The town will continue with the provincial service for now, but councillors want change from the top down.
There needs to be transparency. We need to know how many officers are on duty. I mean, that's just something that is for the safety of the public and safety of the officers themselves. We know at times there's 1 or 2 officers on duty. That's not adequate and that's not effective in our eyes.
Council voted unanimously against the proposed offer at a special meeting last night. A report says it would cost $9.4 million to start using Windsor Police through 2022. That's $3 million more than the OPP. Mayor Hilda McDonald says she will likely be in touch with the OPP to discuss next steps this week. She says she wants more officers on duty. McDonald says even though the contract expires on June 9th, it won't be a problem to continue using the service after that. May marks Asian Heritage Month, coming at a time when there's been an uptick in anti-Asian racism incidents. This year's theme, recognition, resilience, and resolve. As CBC's Jennifer Lagrassa reports, this has people looking back at their journey to Canada.
Afraid, excited.
2 decades after immigrating to Canada, Anthony jokes that he did it all for a little adventure. But it was more than that. He left behind a travel business and journalism gig for more opportunities. In Windsor, he took an English language course at St. Clair College and soon got a job at Caesars Windsor, where he's worked for 15 years.
Anthony Tambunan, who was the first Canadian to win the recognition of Service Excellence Award.
The Rose Award in Michigan was given to him for his excellence in hospitality. It's one of the things he's most proud of. This month, he's reflecting on life in Canada.
And this Canada is made of beautiful country and great country because of multiple cultures. We are all immigrants, I mean, we are not a native people.
Oh, beloved Canada, don't you think? For Joanne Bayluyet, the trip to Canada was quite the blur. She came over at just 6 months old with her mom and 1-year-old sister.
Going for a 24-hour flight across the globe to somewhere you don't know anybody, you don't know the language, you don't know what to expect. Courageous is just kind of the tip of the iceberg.
This month, she's educating her own children, teaching them how to respond to anti-Asian racism.
I don't want to shield them so much so that they think that stuff doesn't happen. They should be aware of it so that they know how to engage with it, how to inform themselves and inform others about it.
And while some have already made their home here, Kayuan Zhang, who is from China, is just starting to put down roots. Zhang came here 4 years ago. He wants to become a Windsor police officer. For now, he's a security guard at Windsor Regional Hospital. The past year, he says, has been difficult.
People aren't always nice. Especially when they see, let's say, Asian face walking around in the hospital. People won't say it straight to my face, but I can always tell, my mom always worry about me and she would tell me to be careful.
He says he wants to see more of the Asian community in public service roles across the region, as he hopes that will help fill service gaps. Jennifer Lagrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
Thousands of high school students across the province are banding together, demanding that the Ontario government let them graduate alongside their classmates in person. Students in Windsor are signing, asking that petition for those ceremonies to go ahead. And for some, it's about seeing all their friends and classmates in person one last time.
I guess I just want to say, like, I know what they're going through. I know that students have struggled in so many ways. We're seeing all the mental health concerns now, and we've all given up so much of the classic teenage experience. And I personally think a graduation would help us take a memory from these past 2 years that wasn't so bad. And yeah, I understand how we're all struggling.
Unimaginable what it's been like for those who are trying to get some of those life moments in during a year like no other. A live look outside now. We see the sun shining. Colette Kennedy coming up next with a look at the forecast, see how long all of this lasts. New York City's turned a corner in its recovery from COVID-19. People can now gather in most places, indoor and out, without wearing a mask.
As long as you have your mask, I think that it should be fine. And now that the vaccinations are going through and people are getting vaccinated, it's about time these businesses open up.
Now, businesses can return to full capacity as long as they confirm through special cards or apps that their patrons have been fully vaccinated. Now, this reopening comes as the city's virus positivity and hospitalization rates dropped to their lowest levels since last fall. half the city's population has been fully vaccinated. Now, last week, we had a little bit of fun making some banana art. We got one more to show you here, though. Wayne Davis took art into his own hands, finding the actual boat I was trying to create the art out of. Really spectacular capture there, Wayne. I don't think anybody would have believed me. Colette, I know you were looking at me like I was, out of this world here, but that is the exact, Wayne, round of applause. That was the one.
Who knew that would float? I mean, yes, your talent astounds, Chris. So
Wayne's talent is pretty astounding there as well. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I defer to your greatness in winning the banana art competition.
The banana art contest.
But as I said, I've got an apple on my desk, so maybe we can take this right through.
Sounds like another Friday challenge here, bud.
yeah, maybe not. Let's talk about some of the warmth, shall we? And these incredible temperatures that we're experiencing. It's still 28 degrees after a high of 29 degrees today. Unofficially, Chatham-Kent 27. Sarnia still 28 degrees as well, and still plenty of time. It's like nearly 20 to 9 before the sun sets, so still plenty of time to enjoy the warmth and some daylight as well. Now, we do have a little extra cloud cover. There's some active weather, or at least some moisture that is to the west of us. But yeah, it's going to be staying there and through, a slim chance as we go into the evening hours of a stray shower, but primarily what we'll get into overnight tonight is seeing things kind of clearing out again. And then tomorrow, it's the same sort of thing where we get into some somewhat variable skies, humidity going up a little bit here, isolated showers likely to the east in terms of us more likely that we stay dry. So, it's very nice to have this very comfortable and almost summer-like weather, but you start to need some of that wet weather too for the garden and for the grass and these kinds of things. And we're going to start drying out here. So when we move ahead, trying to find a better chance of getting into some weather that would give us some significant rain, I'm really not seeing the best chance coming till we get into the latter part of the weekend when we actually have a cold front that will be going through and changing things a bit. But in between, there'll be a few spots you'll see where we have the slightest chance, but it's so slight, I'm really not even putting it down into my 5-day forecast. Sorry to tell you, but hey, it is going to be a holiday weekend. Even if we're in lockdown, I'm sure you're kind of happy to have some fine weather to go along with it. Look at these overnight lows, not just these daytime highs that are way above seasonal. These overnight lows are pretty significant too. Tomorrow, 29 to near 30 degrees for those daytime highs, becoming variable. Spotty showers trying to show up. You see how hit and miss they are, so just don't count on that. Into Friday, up to 31 degrees, and then for the weekend, it's really by Sunday. There's about a 20 to 30% chance on Saturday, but we have a greater chance as we go into Sunday there, Chris, of getting some wet weather.
Okay, something to keep an eye on. Thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
Israel's military is pounding targets in Gaza as the U.S. increases pressure for their operations to wind down. We take a closer look at the situation next. The United States is stepping up its pressure on Israel to wind down operations against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. At the same time, Israeli media reports say Egyptian mediators are pushing for a ceasefire in the 10-day-old conflict. But the fighting continues, with Israel's military pounding targets in Gaza and Palestinian militants launching more rockets into Israel from their territory and southern Lebanon. Freelance reporter Iris Mackler has the latest from Jerusalem.
In Khan Yunis, in the south of the Gaza Strip this morning, an Israeli airstrike on a building. One of the neighbours says he received a warning call from Israel's military.
They said that it was a call from the Israeli intelligence and they were warning before targeting the Al Jabri home. They asked me to clear the area and to move all the neighbours out.
Palestinians across Khan Yunis assess the damage after Israel's airstrikes. Ahmed Al-Astal says he also received an Israeli warning 10 minutes before a missile destroyed his house.
By God, we left with our mother. We couldn't carry her, but the fear made us carry her. But in spite of all this, we will remain on our lands.
To the north in Gaza City, the Palestinian Health Ministry was also checking the damage. It's been affected by power outages and nearby missile strikes.
For the third day, the central lab in the Ministry of Health has been stopped from working. The central lab is the only place for the ministry to do special tests for the coronavirus.
Despite reports of an imminent ceasefire, Hamas rocket fire into Israel has continued as well, injuring Israelis and causing damage to property. Egypt has proposed a truce to begin in less than 8 hours' time, but Israel isn't taking any public steps towards it, including no mention in a speech Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave to foreign ambassadors this afternoon.
We are engaged right now in forceful deterrence, but I have to say, we don't rule out anything. We hope we can restore quiet. We hope we can restore it quickly. I want to say that we're doing that while doing our utmost to avoid civilian casualties.
After this speech, Netanyahu fielded a second call from US President Joe Biden, saying he wanted to see a de-escalation fast. Pressure for a ceasefire is building to provide respite for the civilians on both sides, who are effectively on the front line here rather than soldiers, and to try to enable them to rebuild damaged lives. For CBC News, I'm Iris Mackler in Jerusalem.
The investigation into an allegation of sexual misconduct involving Major General Danny Fortin is now complete, and the matter now in the hands of a Crown official on whether criminal charges should be laid. Now, late last week, Fortin abruptly left his post leading Canada's vaccine logistics. A senior government official said that sudden departure was prompted by this referral to the prosecutor's office. CBC News has confirmed the investigation involves an allegation of sexual misconduct that predates 2015. His lawyers say his client only learned of the specifics of the allegation this past weekend and that he categorically denies it. News from Buckingham Palace. Princess Beatrice is pregnant with her first child. She and her husband are expecting the baby to arrive sometime in the fall. In a tweet, the palace says the Queen has been informed. Both families are delighted. And that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. We're on social media too. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Rick Mercer Report is up next. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.